Holy shit. He said what?
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
Harry and Meghan are actually playing a very game at the moment.
And last night, a reporter asked Prince Harry how his father was. He said, "He's great, thank you." And Prince Harry finished out his London trip. And he told the crowd, "You guys, my mother believed in the power and agency of young."
So I think we're now seeing a different Harry.
And productive. I think he's having a lot of issues, I'm sure, doesn't know what to do with his life.
They are trying to be as divisive as possible in terms of damaging not only the King's reputation, but William's reputation.
Harry and Meghan will be on Netflix forever. He can't get away from this. It will always, always be there.
I think she'd be sad. I think she'd be looking at it long term to know that there are certain things that we need to go through to be able to heal the relationship.
Prince Harry has once again found himself at the center of a royal storm, and this time, it's not about leaked headlines or palace whispers, it's about his own words. In a high-profile interview released just days ago, Harry stood firmly by everything he revealed in his memoir Spare, the explosive book that rattled the foundations of the monarchy and made global headlines in early 2023. While critics have spent years labeling it as revenge, Harry is doubling down with a statement that has people talking, "My conscience is clear." To him, the book wasn't a betrayal, it was truth-telling, a way to expose what he says really went on behind palace doors. But here's the twist. By insisting he has no regrets, Harry has stirred up even more controversy, with insiders claiming the family is deeply frustrated that he's reopening old wounds. Instead of quiet reconciliation, the drama has only intensified, and the gap between Harry and the institution he left behind seems as wide as ever. What makes this moment so dramatic is the timing. After months of carefully chosen appearances and rare glimpses of private family interactions, Harry's decision to speak so boldly now raises big questions. Is he trying to reclaim his image? Is he signaling that the feud isn't over? Or is this simply Harry refusing to be silenced, no matter the cost? And that's just the beginning, because behind this single declaration lies a bigger story of fractured relationships, palace backlash, and a public that's more divided than ever about the prince who walked away. When Spare first hit the shelves in 2023, it wasn't just another royal biography, it was a bombshell. The book laid bare Harry's deepest resentments, painting a picture of palace politics, sibling rivalries, and a family that often put duty above humanity. For many readers, it was a shocking glimpse into the monarchy's inner world. For the royal institution, it was nothing short of betrayal. And yet, years later, Spare refuses to fade into the background. Every time Harry speaks, the book gets dragged back into the spotlight. In his latest interview, he insists it was never about revenge. He frames the memoir as a necessary correction, saying that the real lies had already been told, just not by him. To Harry, Spare was about breaking through the silence that had trapped him for decades. But here's the problem: the palace doesn't see it that way. Royal commentators argue that no matter how Harry spins it, his words left scars on the monarchy's image, particularly his portrayal of Prince William and King Charles. Some say this truth-telling narrative is just another way of justifying damage already done. Others warn that by refusing to back down, Harry risks making reconciliation with his family nearly impossible. Still, Harry doesn't seem rattled. He claims he can sleep at night because in his mind, telling the truth means he has nothing to regret. But if his conscience is clear, the same can't be said for the institution he left behind, because for them, the shadow of Spare still lingers like an open wound. After nearly 19 months of distance, Prince Harry finally reunited with King Charles. It wasn't a grand, public display, it happened quietly, away from the cameras, almost as if both sides knew how delicate the moment really was. But make no mistake, in royal circles, even the smallest meeting speaks volumes. For Harry, this reunion carried enormous weight. His father's health has been a growing concern, and after so much time apart, the opportunity to reconnect felt like more than just a gesture, it was a test. Could fractured bonds begin to mend? Or was this simply a polite formality to silence speculation? What makes it even more telling is who wasn't there. Prince William, Harry's once inseparable brother, played no part in this meeting, and that absence isn't lost on anyone watching. To royal watchers, it's a sign that the real rift isn't between father and son, it's between the two brothers whose feud has defined the modern royal drama. Insiders say the reunion was cordial but far from a breakthrough. Words were exchanged, but the years of tension can't be erased in a single encounter. Still, the fact that it happened at all signals that Harry may not be as cut off from the monarchy as some people believe. But here's the twist: even as Harry spoke warmly about reconnecting with his father, critics argue his very public interview undermined that fragile progress. Because when you sit down and tell the world your conscience is clear, you're not just talking to a journalist you sending a message back to the palace. One of the biggest surprises in Harry's recent remarks is his sudden openness to bringing Archie and Lilibet back to the UK. For years, he kept his distance, insisting that his new life in California was about protecting his family from the same pressures that once consumed him. But now, he admits that the UK will always be part of his children's story and that they deserve to see where their father came from. This shift is striking. Just months ago, it seemed unthinkable that Harry would risk exposing his kids to the same scrutiny he fled. Yet the tone has changed, hinting that Harry may want his children to know their royal roots, even if they grow up oceans away from Buckingham Palace. Some see it as a sign of softening, an olive branch to the monarchy. Others believe it's a strategic move keeping the door open for future ties that could benefit the Sussexes down the line. What's clear is that Harry is walking a fine line. On one hand, he's fiercely protective of his children's privacy, often shielding them from cameras and headlines. On the other, he acknowledges that their heritage can't simply be erased. Archie and Lilibet may never hold royal titles in the traditional sense, but Harry seems determined to give them a connection to the country that shaped him. But here's the catch: not everyone in Britain is eager to welcome the Sussex children with open arms. Public opinion remains divided, and palace insiders whisper that such visits could reopen old wounds, especially if paired with more explosive interviews. The question now is whether these trips would actually bring healing or just reignite the very tensions Harry claims he wants to move past. Even as Harry talks about reconciliation and family, the palace and its insiders aren't exactly rolling out the welcome mat. Reports say some members of the royal institution are livid over his latest interview, claiming that his public declarations about Spare and his conscience are stirring tension rather than easing it. Every bold word, every pointed statement, is seen as a reminder of the rift that hasn't fully healed. Royal commentators argue that Harry's insistence on framing the memoir as truth-telling risks reopening old wounds. Critics point out that no matter how honest he claims to be, the book painted sensitive family dynamics in stark light, and some say those portrayals continue to frustrate Charles, William, and other palace figures. It's a tricky balancing act. Harry wants transparency, yet the very transparency he seeks is what fuels palace resentment. Social media amplifies the drama further. Fans are divided. Some praise him for bravery and candor, while others accuse him of stirring unnecessary controversy. Analysts note that every public remark has ripple effects, from tabloids to talk shows, keeping the tension alive and feeding speculation about the family's future. And yet, Harry seems undeterred. By standing by his words, he's sending a clear message: the truth, as he sees it, is worth the backlash. But in doing so, he risks not only straining family ties but also complicating any chance of genuine reconciliation in the near term. Behind every public move Harry makes, Meghan Markle's influence is impossible to ignore. He's openly credited her with shaping his approach to the media and the monarchy, advising him to stick to the truth no matter the fallout. For Harry, that mantra isn't just a strategy, it's a guiding principle that dictates how he handles both interviews and family dynamics. This influence becomes especially clear when examining how he frames Spare and his recent remarks. By presenting the memoir as a defense of truth rather than a vendetta, Harry positions himself as principled and transparent, even in the face of widespread criticism. Some observers see this as a clever media tactic, a way to control the narrative while maintaining moral high ground. Others view it as a double-edged sword. The very public nature of these statements keeps palace tensions simmering. Meghan's presence in the background also signals something deeper. Their partnership appears not only personal but tactical, reinforcing a shared vision of authenticity and independence. Every move, from interviews to public appearances, reflects a careful balance of protecting their family while asserting their story. Yet, as the palace and public continue to react, this strategy has unintended consequences. It fuels speculation, intensifies debate, and keeps the drama alive. In short, Meghan's advice to stick to the truth isn't just guidance, it's a framework that shapes Harry's every decision. But even the most well-intentioned approach can generate waves, and in the royal world, waves quickly turn into storms. Prince Harry's recent moves are reshaping more than just headlines, they're redefining his image and his legacy. He's no longer just the prince who stepped away from royal life. He's the outspoken figure challenging centuries-old traditions while trying to craft a life on his own terms. Every statement, every interview, and every public appearance now carries weight, influencing how history will remember him. By standing firm on Spare and his choices, Harry is signaling that he won't apologize for being himself, even if it disrupts the palace or public perception. Some see this as courage, others as stubbornness. But either way, it ensures that his story won't be rewritten by tabloids or royal commentators. It will be his version, unfiltered. At the same time, his legacy is complicated by the very same transparency he prizes. The ongoing scrutiny over his family relationships, his children, and his public statements means that the drama isn't confined to the past. It's evolving in real time. How the monarchy, media, and fans respond will play a crucial role in shaping not just Harry's reputation, but the narrative of the Sussexes for generations to come. And the bigger question looms: will Harry's insistence on truth and independence ultimately solidify his place in history as a trailblazer, or leave him forever at odds with the institution he was born into? Prince Harry's latest words remind us that royal drama never truly ends, it evolves. The fallout from Spare, the tension with his family, and the careful balance between truth and backlash all show that every choice he makes has consequences. He's carving out a life that prioritizes honesty and authenticity, but in doing so, he keeps the royal story and his own alive in the headlines. The drama isn't just about him. It's about legacy, family, and the price of telling your side of the story. Whether Harry succeeds in redefining his image or remains caught in ongoing controversy, one thing is certain: the world will be watching every move. And with every statement he makes, the question lingers whose truth will ultimately shape the history of the modern monarchy, Harry's or the Palliser's? So, what do you think? Is Prince Harry finally standing up for himself, or is the drama far from over?